Hello, it's Coach Gary again, continuing along with his training series. You know, it's really funny. People get in the business and they, in this binary system, and they go, well, what side do I put them on? Do I put them on the left side, the right side, and, and what side? And everybody gets confused. Well, I'm going to give you a very simple strategy that if you just try this and follow it, it's going to work pretty well for you. Now, here's the one thing I want to make note before we get into the lesson. You don't know who's going to do it, and you don't know when they're going to do it. It's just a fact of life. Been in the industry 30 years. I've built a few businesses, okay, a few downlines. So you just don't know. And so how do you figure it out? Well, this strategy will allow you to find who's going to rise to the top, who's going to lock arms with you, and who's going to run with you. So with no further ado, let's get into the training and see what you think. Okay, here we go. Well, first of all, understand leg placement. Right leg, left leg, what leg. It's very, very simple rule I'm going to teach you right in the beginning, and then we'll go into some of the strategies here. But this is a simple rule. Put your friends and your family on your shared leg. This shared leg is what you have common with usually with your sponsor. So the shared leg is in common with the sponsor. In the earlier video, I explained that. You always put your builders on what we call the pay leg. Some people refer to as the inside leg. I don't like using that, but that's just our nomenclature in the industry. What happens if one of the people that in your brother or sister decide to do this with you, or your mom, and they're going to run with you? They're going to build her. Well, you put them on the pay leg. Put them on the inside leg. That's the leg you're going to be working on anyway. So again, friends and family, with one exception. That is, if you've got somebody in the family, it's going to be a builder. Builders always rule over that exception. Okay. The shared leg, again, is in common with a sponsor. See the illustrations as we go through this. Now, what does that mean? Well, let's look at to the right over here. You got Mary and Carol are in common. Why? Well, Mary sponsored Carol. Now, this is just straight. This is straight genealogy where I'm just using people that we're going to sponsor under each other as if they personally sponsored it. Okay, on the team leg, there can be a person underneath you you don't even know. So just keep it in mind. We're just going to use this as an example or illustration. So let's assume that Mary sponsored Carol. Well, they're in common. They're in a common leg. Well, who's Pete in common with? Well, think about it. Pete obviously is in common with Mary. Well, who's Gary in common with? Gary's in common with Pete. Who's John in common with? Well, John's in common with Pete. With Gary, excuse me. And then Joe and Joan, who are they in common with? Well, Joe and Joan are, Carol sponsored Joe and Carol sponsored Joan, assuming that. They're in common with Carol. So get the idea of what it means to be in common. So work with that a little bit, read through it, and you'll get it. It's not that difficult. You're in common, very simple, with a person that sponsored you. Whatever leg you're on, you're in common with them. That's all that means. We get confused by that, okay? Well, what is a team? Well, a team leg is where you are in common with your sponsor. That could be right, it could be left, it doesn't matter. In a binary, you're always responsible to build two teams. So let's look at the team leg. Well, if you look at Mary, her team leg would be Pete, Gary, and John. Now, that's her right team. Now, on the left team, Mary's team is Carol, Joan, and Joe. It's that simple. So Mary, Carol, and Joan are on the same team, referred to as Mary's team. Well, who's on Carol's team? Well, Carol has a left team and she has a right team. So who's on Carol's left team? It would be Joe. Who's on Carol's right team? It would be Joe. It's just that simple, folks. Okay, so it's not a big deal. You're in common. So just watch this a couple times. It'll come to you. It'll get it. It took me a little while when I got it. I wasn't so smart. Okay, I couldn't figure it out for about a year. So you're doing better than I am. All right. You can only sponsor and place people on your bottom right and bottom left. That's the purpose of the binary, to work as a team, because all those points roll up to the next person. It rolls up to the next person. That's what's so cool about it, okay? Every time you sponsor somebody, points come with a package, they roll up. Everybody benefits, okay? When somebody below you gets, as an example, auto ship comes through, those points roll up to you. Somebody buys products, those points roll up to you. It's very cool. I love the binary, okay? All right, so let's look at this a minute here. Okay, as an example, Mary sponsored Gary. All right, well, where's Gary? Well, Mary sponsored Gary, who's placed at the bottom of the right team. So Mary didn't sponsor Pete, right? Pete was sponsored by Mary's sponsor. I don't have that illustrated above her, but that's basically what happened. So see what happens there? You go to the bottom, and sometimes people show up in your genealogy, and you're wondering, well, where do they come from? I don't even know them. That means somebody above you sponsored below you. Well, how come they did that? Well, they got to qualify up to a Sapphire by putting 3 executives on that leg, on that team. That means everybody to go up the ladder has to give you 9 people. It's the most brilliant compensation plan anytime. I've been in the industry 30 years. Wendy Lewis is one of the most brilliant people I've ever had the opportunity of knowing. Oh my God. I worked for years trying to figure out how to solve the problem of the inside of an inside leg. She requires part of the qualification to go up the ranks that you have to contribute, not people, but executives to the team leg. So the people can't come in and just work the inside leg. They got to contribute to the team leg. That means the team leg is going to grow. That means basically what happens as you start getting into this and starts growing, you're only going to have to build 1 leg to get paid. So 300 points is going to make you a lot of money when you understand that. 300 and 300, 600, make 900 in that cycle. All right, so Joan was sponsored by Mary. Carol was not. Joan was placed below Carol. Gary was sponsored by Mary. Placed below Pete. That's all it is. Great example to follow. So timing is everything in the binary. So when you got people coming in, you got to tell them this. Hey, look, our team is smoking hot. We got 200 people a day coming into the business, and you're gonna. A lot of those people are going to end up underneath you, or you're going to end up underneath them. Now you're going to have a lot of leverage if you get in. Some people say, well, I got to wait a week, or I got to wait 2 weeks. Shut up. Get in the binary right now. While you're waiting 2 weeks, you can be making money while you're on vacation. How much fun is that? What do you got? You got everything to win and nothing to lose. If you got to think about it, just pay your $49.95, sign up, get you up in this position, then come back and buy the products. Oh my gosh. But taking 2 weeks to think about it in the binary is like throwing money away. Okay, I'm just a little excited there. I just want to tell you the truth. All right, what is a pay leg? Well, pay leg is always referred to the leg with lesser volume. So as an example here, Mary's left leg is referred to as her power leg. Now that power leg could be left or right. You don't know. It's the power leg is the leg with the most volume in it. Doesn't necessarily mean the most people. It's the most volume. You're going to have people that buy a lot more than other people. So always look at volume to determine what the power leg is. And the goal in a binary is always trying to balance those legs, but that doesn't, sometimes you get a runaway leg. All right, Mary's pay leg is her lesser leg. That's basically where she's going to make most of her money. The power leg carries the larger volume of points. That's all it is. It's very, very simple. Now, I'm going to give you a crazy strategy because you don't know who's going to get in and you don't know when they're going to do it. You just don't. So sponsor, and it's so simple if you follow this and let the system tell you who's going to run with you. Don't try to figure it out. You're not going to figure it out. The one you think it's going to run turns out to be the bummer that doesn't run, and then you get, oh my gosh, I hear people say this all the time, oh, I'm going to get this person. I'm going to get Charlie. Oh my God, Charlie's so good. Oh, I can't wait to, I'm going to call Charlie. You call Charlie and say, Charlie goes, I'm not interested. You go, what? I'm not interested. I already signed up with something last week. So you don't know. And sometimes Charlie says, okay, I'll try it with you, and Charlie doesn't do anything. Okay, you don't know who's going to run, and you don't know when they're going to run. Let me say it again. You don't know who's going to run, and you don't know when they're going to run. So here's my strategy. It's so simple, and it's so brilliant. Place 10 people on your left, 10 people on your right. Follow the family rule, friends and family rule. Builders always go to the inside leg. So you don't have to go left, right, left, right. But what you want to do, after 20 people are sponsored, make sure you end up with 10 on your left, 10 on your right. Here's why. You mentor 2 or 3 executives on each side. Normally, you'll end up with 2 or 3 executives on each side. You're going to have to mentor them and teach them. How do you tell them they're going to do it? They're the ones who are going to be calling you. They're going to be asking you questions. You're going to know them by the questions they ask, I promise you. They're going to be calling you. You go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. All right? They're the ones that are going to be studying the product, studying the compensation plan, driving you crazy with questions. I'm telling you, those are the runners. Give them the attention. Give them the time. You got one. You got a big fish now. Land it. Get it going. Okay, teach them how to fish. You do not know who is going to do it in this industry. The industry average is 1 out of 5 do it, but you never know. Mentor 3 executives on your left leg and on your right leg. I promise you that strategy, the cream will rise to the top. You know who they'll run with by the questions and the phone calls that you get. If you just follow that simple rule, you'll figure out where to put your time, all right? So this is Coach Gary, and you can do it. The strategy that I'm teaching you here is simple, it's fun, and don't worry about left leg, right leg, or anything else. Follow these little rules. Put 10 on your left, 10 on your right, alternate them back and forth till you find a builder. You always slide them in on your pay leg, okay? Or your inside leg, as we call it. All right? This is Gary signing off.